launch off the Tribeca Film Festival with no fire. Do we have any redheads in the room? Oh, I see one. Stand over here. I'm just kidding. Yeah. Okay. So my name is Jen Mello of Film Interchange, and we're hosting this event here this evening to launch Tribeca Film Festival with Richard Botto, better known as RB from Stage 32. Many of you know well. So we're going to get started, first kind of just casually, Richard, I'd like to know who you are, and RB, sorry.
My grandmother calls me Richard.
Richard.
That's actually what she calls me.
No, I know, you're New Yorker, right? Yeah, okay. So, RB, I'm going to hand the microphone over to you, and I want you to introduce yourself and tell us all a little bit about yourself.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
How much time do you have?
All night.
We could do a little psychotherapy here.
Do it.
I grew up in New York, and I started as an actor here in this great city with at least one person here that I worked with back in the day in theater. And I started a magazine called Razor back in 2002. It was a men's lifestyle magazine. It was national, and that helped me with my writing fix because I was always a writer, and took me away from acting for a while. But on the positive of that entire experience was that I got to meet a lot of people in the industry. And when Razor shut down, which was about 2006, by the way, it was very successful. We had a readership of about 1.5 million nationally. Well, we weren't Condé Nast, we weren't Hearst, so nobody wanted advertisements. And at that time, I was approached by a producer who had a script by Barry Levinson's son, Sam Levinson. It was called Another Happy Day. Actually, it wasn't called that at the time. Went through like 5 different name changes. And I got involved with that and took the film to Sundance in 2011. And during that time, I started writing. And at that time, when I was starting to write and being in the mix again and starting to act a little bit again, when I wanted to learn about writing, I went online, and I just noticed that there wasn't anything, there were no classes online. There was nothing online, at least not from people, at least not by people that had any experience. People where I felt comfortable, sitting there learning from somebody. There's a lot of people in the writing business, certainly true in the acting business, we talk about this all the time. A lot of charlatans and a lot of people that are a lot of snake oil salesmen. It's particularly true in the writing industry. You got a lot of people that say they're experts and they're consultants, and then you find out they're from Lincoln, Nebraska, and if you Google them, you find out that they just quit their insurance job and now they're screenwriting experts. So that kind of bugged me, and so that stayed with me. Also, what stayed with me was when I was acting here in New York, there were a lot of people that were much more talented than me that had left the business because they just didn't have contacts. And it is a business of who you know. I don't care what anybody tells you. It's certainly about learning your craft and honing your craft and doing the things that you need to do to hone your craft. But it's definitely, you need to have contacts too. You need to have champions. You need to have people that are willing to go to other people and recommend you or say you need to look at this guy. So that stayed with me. So also when I was doing Another Happy Day, you become a family on an independent film set. We shot for 31 days in Michigan. Everybody worked for scale, including Demi Moore and Ellen Barker. Everybody worked for scale. A lot of the people that worked on the crew worked for nothing. And we became a family. You hang out by the pool at night, everybody gets drunk, everybody has a good time, everybody, whatever. And everybody, it's like summer camp, it really is. It's like summer camp on an independent film. And everybody says, we're going to stay together, we're going to work together, we're going to talk together, we're going to do more things together, and everybody goes to separate ways and you don't hear from anybody.
Yeah.
And then when you do start hearing from people, they're like, do you know of any work? Do you know of any jobs? And it's tough because a lot of people like to work in cliques, and especially in the independent film world, and in the studio world, it's totally another animal. So all these things combined, the acting thing, the writing thing, not being able to find education that I needed, watching what happened with the crew of Another Happy Day, that gave me the idea for Stage 32. And it took me about 2 years, the embryonic idea anyway, and it took me about 2 years to convince myself to go do it. Because I knew it would be for lack of a better way, this is an industry term, I knew it would be a motherfucker. And, but I wanted to take it on, and you know, here we are. So I'm still acting, I'm still writing, I'm still producing, and now I'm here back in my hometown talking to you.
Fantastic. You know, anytime you do something that is a big idea, and that's, you know, a big idea, whether it's Stage 32 or your directing career or your screenwriting career or your acting career, any big idea is going to be, for lack of a better term, a motherfucker. But you do it for the love, and you do it because, you know, you're right, quote unquote, and you do it because you meet really amazing, fantastic professionals along the way. That you gravitate towards the people that you connect with. And the fact that there's a resource called Stage 32 that allows you to do such a thing online in the World Wide Web is really an amazing thing. So let me ask you early on, what social media sites were you on prior to Stage 32, and were they, which one stood out to you and why?
I really wasn't on any of them, except for LinkedIn. And I wasn't on Facebook because I didn't see the charms of it, I didn't see the need for it. I don't need to let everybody know what I'm having for lunch.
The ham sandwich.
I don't need to, you know, well now I should put just like that, but back then I didn't need to. I just didn't see it for, you know, for what I was looking to do as creative, I didn't see the need for it. Then I went on to LinkedIn, and, you know, again, it's the same thing. I think if you're a white-collar guy, you know, and you're on LinkedIn, I think that's fine. You know, I think it has its space. But for creatives, I used to say that, and I still say it, you know. I probably shouldn't, but I'm just, you know.
As he looks at the camera.
It's where conversations go to die. Like if you went to the groups of LinkedIn, and you post, you know, you go into the screenwriting groups and you look for, which I did back then. I was looking for, you know, I'm having a problem with my protagonist, this is the problem I'm having. I'm having a problem with the third act, here's the problem I'm having. And you look for people to kind of jump in, and you look for this community kind of thing, because, you know, as a creative, we all need support. I don't care what you do, you want support. It's the most important thing, I think, in a lot of ways. And there was none of that there. It was just, I would go on there and I'd post these things and everything just done.
Sure.
And you get no response. Or you would get people that respond and say, you know, I figured out my third act problems, want to read my script?
Right. No.
No, I don't think you've lost the spirit of what I'm asking. So that was part of the problem, you know. So I wasn't on a lot of social media sites. Right now, I'm still on LinkedIn, but I'm on LinkedIn as the CEO of Stage 32. Because from a business standpoint, it makes sense.
Sure.
I get much more out of it on the entrepreneurial side than I do on the creative side. I'm on Twitter because I like the fact that it's easy to share content. And I'm a big believer in sharing content. So, you know, I read a ton. I spend most of my, you know, every morning I usually spend an hour at a time for myself, you know, reading about industry news, or, you know, sometimes it's something about, you know, again, if I'm having a problem with screenwriting, I'll learn something about acting or something along those lines. I'll go and I'll, you know, check those sites and check certain sites and take articles that appeal to me and share them on Twitter and share them on Stage 32. Right. So I think it's great to be able to share content and, of course, to be able to broadcast out, you know, certain things. But outside of that, I'm not on anything.
Interesting.
That's it.
Yeah. I like that. I mean, I think that really comes down to when you are on social media, you do have to think about the social media sites that speak to you. Yep. It can be so overwhelming these days that there are so many different platforms, and there's a new one every day, and how do you keep up, and do you have to keep up with all of them? And you can't. It's not possible.
It's too much.
It's too much. So that brings up a question of, you know, you and I just prior to this chat were talking about a thank you economy, and what that means, and you just hit on that a little bit, about how you want to give and share. Yeah. So let's talk about sharing content on social media and why you need to share rather than promote.
Yeah, I actually call it, you know, being a collaborator instead of a broadcaster.
Okay.
You know, social media, a lot of people, what they do is they go on, we're going to have this crowdfunding panel, which I hope you guys will stick around for a little later, Indiegogo and CineSpark, and they'll talk a lot about this, because we'll get into this, this happens all the time with crowdfunding, is that people go onto social media and they immediately broadcast their crowdfunding platform, you know, campaign. Look at this, look at this, look at this. it never works.
Right.
It never works. And the reason why it doesn't work is because social media is social media. It's about you know, it's about
there were some ahas back there.
it's about cultivating relationships. And you know, we talk a lot about how competitive this business has become. If you're a filmmaker right now, right? The barrier of entry has never been lower. You can shoot a movie on, you know, a movie just got sold at Sundance that shot on iPhone, right? How did that filmmaker rise above? Well, of course, the content, everybody wants to point to the content. But this person also cultivated a big community on social media. And the way that he did it was he went out there and he asked questions. He crowdsourced. He cultivated his relationships. And when the time came to say, hey, would you do something for me? He had already built up so much social currency, as I like to say, that people were willing to jump, you know, run through fire for him. Okay, if we actually had the fire side.
Right, redhead, where are you? Where's the redhead?
They would run through the fire. But you know, they were ready to run through fire for him, and that's the reality. It's all about building up. You know, I have a friend that she calls herself the Green Light Coach, and she does a lot of offline networking seminars. And she has this rule of 3, which means that if you're at a conference or if you're at any sort of event, that you ask 3 questions of the other person before you ask them to do anything for you. I think that's the same online. I think that's a very, very good rule. I think that people automatically, you know, they create an account, they think they're behind the glow of their computer screen, and you know, and they just, you know, I can throw out anything to a million different people, but it's obvious, you know, it's obvious what your intentions are. You're being a broadcaster, you're not being a communicator. And that's a gigantic mistake, because it's all about cultivating relationships. And the best filmmakers in this business, I can point to people, well, I'm not going to name names because they'd probably be embarrassed and they don't want me to say it, but I can point to certain people in this industry who have made 5, 6, 7 films that have all been the result of cultivating relationships on social media. And they do it brilliantly by sharing content, by asking people, by crowdsourcing, even within their own films. Help me name this character. What would you like to see this character do? Like, you know, I mean, this character is a vegan. Tell me about your vegan experiences. That kind of thing. So that there is a bond and a relatability, if that's even a word. I'm not sure. Somebody Google it. But you know, there's that kind of thing. You're connected. You know, and that's what it's all about. And if you don't do that, and you're just a broadcaster, you're gonna fail.
Absolutely, that's all good points. And you mentioned a couple things in there of things that people don't necessarily do right, which is a big thing. It's like, obviously you want to do things that are cultivating relationships and you know, connecting with people, because it is social, as you said. But then there are things that people do wrong, and they get it really wrong. Do you have any examples of what that might be?
Yeah, well, I think the broadcasting thing is definitely the #1 thing.
Right.
I think the fact that people don't target with social media. You know, they carpet bomb. That's a mistake. You don't want to carpet bomb your networking plan, I guess you could say. To me, I like to say that nobody in your network is a bad person having your network, because you never know. It's a small business, and you never know who's going to be a champion of New York and who could, you know, pass on something good. But at the same time, I don't want people in my network who are selfish. I don't want people in my network that show me that they're, you know, all about themselves, and when the time comes for me to ask them to do something, they're not, you know, they're going to run. So that's really the biggest mistake. I mean, if you want to talk about broad strokes, the biggest mistake people make on social media, filmmakers and creatives make on social media, is they don't fill out their bios. They don't upload their media. You know, I like telling this story. This is a recent one. We're producing this film, and you know, we put it out there on Stage 32 that we were looking for actors, and this is what we're looking for. This is the age range. This is, you know, what we need. And I got an email from somebody, or a private message from somebody that said, check out my profile. You know, I've killed it, and I went to the person's profile, and it literally said under the bio, I swear to God this is true, I'm an actor. That was the bio. There was no reel, no headshots, no nothing. I'm an actor. I said, fucking terrific. You got the gig. You know, so it's a big one. I talk about You didn't get the you know, I talked about closing the circle on social media. You talked about being on social media platforms. Tell them I said hi.
Yeah.
Give them my love.
That was such an old school ring. I liked it.
I missed them.
It's like 1985.
I missed them. I talked about closing the circle on social media. You talked about being on social media. There's so many social media platforms to be on. I think if you're on more than 3, you're on too many. Okay, and if you're not closing the circle in those 3, and you know, in those 3 or 2 or 1, you know, it's just 1, you can't close the circle. But if you're on 2 or 3, the whole idea of being able to link your social media accounts to one another so that people can go from one place to one place, because every social media platform offers something different. On Twitter, you can't upload your reels and your headshots and, you know, your clips. You can't do that. But you can put your Stage 32 profile link to your profile where you do have those, you know, that media.
Right.
I think that's really important. It's another mistake that people make all the time. So it's all about closing the circle, all about being able to lead people from one place to another so they get the complete picture of who you are, where you've been, where you're looking to go.
Sure, and I think too, you know, each social platform has their own rules. You know, each one is different. You know, you can't do on Facebook what you can do on Twitter and vice versa. And also, content is really important. How you state what you're going to state, and simple things like putting a link in Facebook. If you put that link on your Facebook page, you can then erase it. It will show up, but you have to erase the link. And so many people leave the link. The link drives me crazy. Like, erase the link because it will show up anyway. But then from there, I'm interested to know what social platforms people in this room are on. I think that would be an interesting question. So how many people have a Facebook profile?
Wait, ask a follow-up question.
Okay.
Ask how many people have gotten work from Facebook?
How many people have gotten work from Facebook? Okay.
10%.
Yeah, 10%, about that. That's good. Actually, does somebody want to share their story as to how they got work from Facebook? I'd be interested in that. Yeah, David.
You remember my name.
David Michaels.
Yes, that's right. First off, nice to meet everybody here. This is fantastic. I've been on Facebook for a few years. I work as a voiceover artist and a coach, as well as the whole gamut of film, television, stage. I did some film work. Ironically, Dave, I don't know where you are, somewhere in this room. There he is, right there.
Dave!
I did an independent movie a few years ago with him, and one of the actors in it was John Ratzenberger. And one of the editors of that particular film was also working some other things, found out subsequently that I was a voiceover artist. So there's a lot of specifics involved. He got a hold of me, hence I taught him, and he got his reel produced. So there were some specifics, but that was my specific thing that got me work.
So you had a chance, but again, that's exactly the power of social media.
Thank you.
Well, that's the power of social media. You had made contacts and somebody had championed you.
Right.
And that's the thing. That's why I say that, you know, no contact is a bad contact unless it's a selfish contact. You know, if somebody is selfish, that's a deal breaker for me. If they're all about broadcasting, that's it. Otherwise, you know, I'm not. You know, you get people that will write sometimes and say, oh, you know, I got network requests from this guy in India. Like, why the hell would I want to connect with somebody in India? And I'm like, well, you're an editor. And I could point to a composer in Florida that is scoring a movie for somebody in India. We live in a global world. You know, we live in a virtual world. You know, as far as the internet is concerned. And I can't tell you how many success stories there have been on Stage 32 with people that have been on different continents.
Yeah.
You know, editors. You know, cutting films. Oh, there's one. You got? Oh, it's just woo.
I just like that. I like that.
All right. I thought maybe you had a specific.
You never know where business is.
I always wanted to be wooed. Next, somebody's got to put up a lighter and sway from side to side. That'd be really cool. I would accept that. But yeah, you know, you don't know. You know, we had a composer. The example I'll speak of is this is a composer who, again, was ready to kind of quit the game. She lived in Florida, didn't have the means to move to LA. Did some really unbelievable work. A director in India put up he was trying to score the film, and he couldn't get anybody even in India, like people that he knew, just weren't connecting with the material. So he put it on the site, and he said, I'm going to take 10 submissions. You know, here is a 5-minute clip to score, and I want to hear. Let's see if you can capture the mood and capture what I'm looking for.
Sure.
And she did, and she got hired to score a major motion picture that's going to get domestic distribution here, and it's going to be distributed all over India. Happens all the time. So why would you turn down that kind? So when people say to me like, why would I want to connect with India? Hey, listen, my screenwriting representation came through a connection. It's in LA. It's somebody. It's the same guy that wrote Shane Black, who just did Iron Man 3 and did Lethal Weapon, all that stuff. It came from a connection that I made in Canada, in Montreal. If I didn't make that connection, I wouldn't have my representation.
Yeah.
So there you go.
So there you go. Fantastic. That's great. That's great. And thank you for sharing.
Absolutely.
Can I
Okay.
just say one other thing about that Facebook?
Yes, Gina, you may.
I really think that the other part of it is the opposite, which is you meet someone in person at an event like this, and you're like, are you on Facebook? And then you connect with the person on Facebook, and that actually got me some work as well. So, you know, there's that other way, which is everyone's on.
Yeah.
So it's like the
So
greatest-
everyone in this room raised their hand
Right.
when I asked about Facebook,
Right.
which is awesome. That was a great segue. It was like you read my mind. Thanks.
So instead of like, you know, calling them from their business card or whatever, now you go on Facebook and,
And
you
it's
friend
direct.
them.
Exactly. And in our industry too, I think the casual aspect of social media works well. In other industries, it wouldn't
Right,
necessarily.
right.
Not as much.
Right.
no.
Yeah. So yes, that's a great segue into, okay, basically everybody in this room raised their hand when we said Facebook. How about Twitter? Okay, I think that's everyone. No? Oh, that was a yes. Okay, never mind. So everyone's on Twitter. What about Instagram? Okay. I'd say that's a little over half. It's 75% or so. Okay. Tumblr. LinkedIn. Okay, good. Good. Stage 32. Fantastic. Great. And how about YouTube?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Now that's a good segue again. Isn't that interesting how this all just sort of works out when you plan your question? Okay, so a lot of filmmakers tend to be on Vimeo as opposed to YouTube. Some of them choose Vimeo over YouTube, and others are on both. So I don't know if you have any thoughts about YouTube versus Vimeo or both.
Encoding's cleaner. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't.
Video's better.
I think whatever gets you exposure is fine. Whatever, if you feel like Vimeo's cleaner, that's great. You know, it's the same thing though. You should have your links on all the social media accounts. It pisses me off when I get people that come to Stage 32 and they say, check out my reel. It's and it's a link to Vimeo where they can upload it right to their profile. And I know it ticks off a lot of other people as well. We work with over 300 executives in the industry, and their time is money.
Yeah.
So it's like even the extra click, as ridiculous as that sounds,
You
it's just
have
a
to make it
major-
easy for
You gotta
people.
make it easy, and you gotta make it's not only just the extra click, but it gives people the impression that you get it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That you're kind of. I talked earlier about carpet bombing as far as networking is concerned, but it's the one time when it's okay to be a narcissist is when it comes to your own bio. It's okay to put your links in every single place that allows it. And a lot of people don't do it. They say, check out my link here, check out my work here. And it's, well, wait, why didn't you just put it right here? Because it's nice and easy, and it's front-loaded into your profile. So, for me, I don't have a choice over Vimeo, Vimeo or YouTube. We upload a lot of our instructional videos to both. And the reason we upload them both is because they're both available. Some people prefer Vimeo, some people prefer YouTube. And if they find it on either one, that's great. So it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's great. If I can add to that a little bit, I actually, about this time last year, I think it was, I wrote a blog about Vimeo versus YouTube because I was working at a company called Relio, Relio.com, and they're a brand new startup company that, it's very interesting. They are the Match.com between YouTube and brands. So we put those two things together. And I thought it was really interesting because they brought me in as a film person to chat with the film community. And what was interesting about it is that filmmakers just aren't on YouTube in the way that they're on Vimeo. And I understand why, because the quality of your film just looks better on Vimeo. Filmmakers like it. I get it, it makes so much sense. But on YouTube, that's where your audience is.
Well, but again, you got to create your own audience. You know, we're going to talk about this on the crowdfunding panel. Like why, you know, why Kickstarter as opposed to Indiegogo, why Seed and Spark as opposed to Indiegogo. A lot of people believe if there's less competition, I'm going to stand out more. Okay, so I'm going to go on Vimeo because it's, you know, I can control the traffic. That's right. That's the right approach. You can control the traffic. Okay, but that doesn't mean that you can't catch a wave on YouTube and be on their front page.
Sure.
You know, it doesn't. The common denominator in all of this is that it's up to you to create the audience. It's up to you to crowdsource the audience.
Yeah.
You know, we'll talk about this in the crowdfunding panel, but every single crowdfunding campaign that's successful has a 3 to 6 month campaign plan, which crowdsourcing is a part of it. People that are in the film industry, if you're an actor, if you're a filmmaker, it doesn't matter. If you're uploading your content to Vimeo or to YouTube, it doesn't, unless, you know, the freaking dancing baby or, you know, whatever the hell it is, it's, you know, the dog that speaks human or whatever. It's, you know, those things go viral because, you know, social media and things of that nature. But if you really want to build an audience for your acting reel or your filmmaking reel is not going to go viral. Unless it's something crazy like this thing, Sundays, for example, that just went nuts with Jairo Alvarado at Circle of Confusion that sold to Warner Brothers for 6 figures. That was something that, you know, he found that through social media, okay? But it took other people that were really passionate about it. The filmmakers they moved the crowd to the point where it landed in Jairo's universe. You know what I mean? They built that audience that it reached him. And that's the reality of anything. You know, when you're doing any kind of campaign as far as trying to draw an audience to your work. It's not just if you build it, they will come. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
You know, you have to do the work.
Right. Right. Very good. And what about, I suppose the only social media platform, and correct me if I'm wrong, well, there's ways to do it otherwise, but the only social media platform that you can monetize through is YouTube. Is there a reason to do that or not? No, it's not. Mark, what's the other one?
We just got courted by a group called TSU, TSU.
TSU, yes. Okay, well, I was going to say that too. Go, you're always with me. Go on. Do you want to talk about it?
Go ahead.
No, I will let you.
Well, we got courted by them because they're a new social media platform that has the same kind of basis as Facebook.
Can everyone hear?
But I'll talk louder.
No,
what they do is they that's okay. They share share the revenue of their ad sales with the content provider. Am I not loud enough?
You are. I think you're good, but you know.
Yeah, they have a. It's almost a. I'm sorry. Talk up again. It's It's kind of a multi-level marketing program whereby, you know, if people join in under you, that you kind of gain the revenue of them in some small degree. But really, what it is that they share the revenue of their ad sales with you, the content provider. So it's interesting. We're still on the fence about it. We've just signed up with it. But, you know, we're trying to go through the whole thing where we just find out that Twitter, you can put your tags in, and you can get your Twitter tags, but you can't get your Facebook tags in. So we're trying to figure, because we're in the middle of an Indiegogo campaign for a documentary, and so we're trying to figure out, okay, is this beneficial, or is it just somewhere else we have to post? Because they have 4 million subscribers, so okay, we have access to 4 million more subscribers, but like, is it just the work of adding them and posting to them as well as Facebook, as well as Twitter, as well as all the others? Or can we post there and let it filter through, which is what their pitch was.
What's your end game with the content, though? Is the end game with your content to be seen, or is it to monetize the content online?
We have different end games. You know, our parent company wants to gain, you know, recognition and start a wave. Specifically on our Indiegogo campaign, we want to get, you know, raise the money for this documentary we're doing. But we have like several projects in the offering. So we did our parent company, and then we did underneath the parent company the documentary. Okay.
And tell us what your crowdfunding is.
On Indiegogo, we are raising money for the Patrice O'Neal documentary. Patrice O'Neal was a comedian that died a few years ago of diabetes, stroke. But what a wonderful guy, and what a great point of view, and I'm super excited to be directing and producing that. And thank you. It's really really not about me as much as it is about the message. He was awesome, and he was everybody's favorite. Ricky Gervais and Dane Cook and Bill Burr and all the Opie and Anthony guys, and just huge names that all want to play with us because of him, not because of me. And I'm very excited and humbled to be a part.
Awesome. Cool. Cool. Thank you. And just so you all know, this is Mark Farrell. He came and spoke at Film Interchange last month. He produced the pilot of Curb Your Enthusiasm. He's a great guy. You definitely should come and chat with him after we finish up the social media stuff. And thank you, Mark, for your contribution.
Clearly a slacker.
He's a total slacker. He's worked with nobody important. He's not important himself. It's all right. But with that being said, just to kind of go off of that a little bit, Sue also works like what some of these other platforms do, like Hootsuite. Not that Hootsuite monetizes, it doesn't. Right. But it is a platform that you can go to Sue.com and it will post to your Facebook and post to your Twitter and post to your various different social media platforms so that it is all in one place. Do you have anything to say about something like Hootsuite or posting in one place? Do you ever do it?
You know, again, I think I think people see through sometimes. Like, again, if you're posting the same message across a million platforms and you're doing your job as a marketer and as a social media, as a marketer for your own material, people are going to see that you're posting the same material across all these platforms because they're following you on all these different platforms. So, it becomes sort of your job to make it engaging, We talk about crowdsourcing. I'm writing a book on crowdsourcing for Focal Press, and we'll probably talk more about it on the crowdfunding platform because there's an element of crowdsourcing with every crowdfunding campaign. But the basic tenets of crowdsourcing are identifying the crowd, engaging the crowd, and moving the crowd. Okay? If you're broadcasting the same message to everybody all the time, you're not going to engage them. If they're finding the same material across all the platforms, at Stage 32, we do the same thing. We're marketing the platform. We try to put different messages across everything.
Right.
With our Instagram account, we try to put pictures, behind the scenes of what's going on in the office, or just be behind the scenes of maybe one of our educational things, some of the educators we work with. On Twitter, it might be more of a broadcast kind of thing with, either things that are coming up or really sharing content. We do a ton of sharing of content. But we try to mix the message up across all the platforms. So sometimes, I'm not saying that, a thing like Hootsuite or Buffer, even, not that it's not a great tool, and if, in the most dire of circumstances, if you have to set something up, you're going to Belize for a week, God bless you, and you want to set up all your social media stuff, you can go do it. But if you can mix it up, I think it's better.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree. Absolutely. We're going to open it up to some Q&A in just a little bit, and in just a minute. I realized that I didn't introduce myself appropriately, so I'm going to do that now at the end. My name is Jen Mello. Hi, everybody. Hello. And thanks. I like that. Oh. What? You can't hear me?
I can hear you, but it's not on.
No. Oh, party fail. I'm so that girl. Okay, hold on. Can you hear me now? Okay, awesome. Fantastic. Thank you. I run Film Interchange. It's a group where we meet on the first and third Tuesdays of every month right here in New York City. There's a space that I use down in the East Village. It's a small space, and I cap the event at around 50 people. I don't want it to be more than that because I want it to be very intimate for a very specific reason. It's normally a one-on-one discussion with someone such as Mark Farrell, who's accomplished a great deal of success, and those are my questions. Anyway, thank you. And we chat with each individual guest about how. It's all about the how you did what you accomplished, so that other people who come to the event can figure out the steps. What are the next steps in order to get to where I would like to be, based off of the, the accomplishments of our guest speaker. There's many more plans in the future. Many things are going to be announced within the year. That's what the company is right now. And as I just mentioned earlier, I did have a 9-to-5 last year working at a company called Relio that I have recently left. And so I have relaunched Film Interchange, and I'm totally focused on it. And I relaunched it about 6 weeks ago. So it's very, very brand new, and I'm so excited to be here with you all. Thank you. And I'd love you to come and check out the events and sign up for the mailing list, and I have a new YouTube channel, and you know, I would like to get to know each and every one of you before we leave the event this evening, okay? So without further ado, I think it's time for Q&A, yeah?
Absolutely.
Cool. So who has a social media question? Yes.
I would like to ask if you had to give me the biggest social media challenge. I'm kind of all over the place. I do producing, I do costuming, I do, you know, whatever, pick up dog shit, whatever I need to do to get the project going. What's my biggest challenge right now in social media? And I don't live in New York City or Wisconsin. I think you made a little Wisconsin.
Probably engaging the dog picking up shitty.
Sometimes we just have to do dog shit.
What's your goal? Like what's your goal? What are you trying to accomplish?
My goal is to turn the social media, you know, maelstrom into something that's more esoteric and something that I can really use. You know, like you said, I don't really care what you ate for lunch.
But toward what goal though? I mean, like, are you trying to? Is it something you're trying to promote?
Yes, and finding like-minded people who want to collaborate on projects with me. What direction do I take?
Okay, so
without just throwing out word vomit constantly on Facebook.
Okay.
Which is
like-minded people. It's the reason I started Stage 32. I didn't want to connect with people. I didn't want to be on Facebook and connect with my friends and family. Okay, I wanted to connect with people that are in this room. Okay, that was the goal. My goal was that I didn't want to, as you know, look, as a screenwriter, I say this all the time when I speak at screenwriting events. Your mother's not going to tell you if there are act problems. Your mother is not going to give you advice on how to learn that monologue in 6 hours. It's not going to happen. But somebody in this room will tell me. Somebody in this room I can give my script to, and they'll know enough to say to me, you have an issue. Okay, and I can give something back to them as well. It's the same thing. So as far as, you know, connecting with like-minded people without whoring it out, I say, you know, go on to Stage 32. But as far as joining, you know, a community or finding a community, it's easier than ever to search via social media for even on LinkedIn, for crying out loud, which is terrible.
It's
You can find actors and directors, and you can search by that and find people that are, you know, like-minded. Every social media platform out there gives you the capability to search for what you're looking for. That's the easy part. The hard part is how do you engage those people, okay? So my challenge to you would be, go out, identify those people, and depending on what platform you're on, if you're on Twitter, follow them and see if they follow you back, okay? If you're on Stage 32, send network requests. But then, what you need to do is you need to be active, you need to be engaging, you need to be giving the material. The challenge is, how long can you go? Can you go a month without talking about yourself on social media? Can you go a month of putting out quality material, stuff that either you've written, which is, you know, by the way, a great way to engage people, even if it's 3 paragraphs, 500 words. Put something out, your experience. Maybe it's something that you went through. Maybe you went to an audition today, or maybe, you know, you were on set and your actor decided to lock themselves in the bathroom for 5 hours, and you tell why, you know, how you worked it out.
And what, not to interrupt, and what do you do when you put that out there and you have this experience,
Yep.
and you put it out there and you're looking for, like, you know, something that, and there's just nothing there but...
Well, then you're not following, but you got to make sure you're following the right, you know, if you spend, I can guarantee you this, if you spend 5 to 10 days building your network, you know, following those people, sending network requests, depending on the platform you're on, and then you start putting that material out there, if you're not getting a response, then either you're following the wrong people or you're not putting the right content out there. The great equalizer on social media is asking questions.
I like
Ask people about them. What are you working on? What do you got going on? Why are you interested in this kind of material? Somebody, you put up a link and it's, you know, some sort of content. Somebody writes back to you and goes, thanks for the content. Thanks for that. It's great. Ask them why it was great. Ask them what they liked about it. Engage them. What ends up happening is that all their followers get engaged too because they see you interacting and then they want to follow you. They want to be involved with you. They want to know more about what you're doing. Okay? But if you can spend 30 days, that's the challenge. If you can spend 30 days not talking about yourself, not putting anything out there about you, outside of what's in your bio, which better be damn, use all freaking 140 characters and a half if you can. And some people have figured out how to cheat that, by the way. I don't have to tell you how. Google it. You know, if you can do that, I guarantee you, that's the social experiment. This is really it. That's the social media. It's a social experiment of how do you engage people. You know, it's like I said earlier with crowdsourcing. Crowdsourcing is what it is, but I'll use the same tenets of crowdsourcing for social media. It's by identifying people, engaging people, and then when you need to, when the time comes, moving them. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I think, you know, the 30 days of not talking about yourself, it goes back to also talking, when you reach out to people, actually talk about them. Like, if you're reaching out to somebody cold, there's a reason why you're reaching out to them cold. So acknowledge them, compliment them, because there is a reason why you're reaching out to them. So talk about them, don't talk about you. And additionally from that, and I had a thought, and I don't remember what it was. What was it?
I don't know.
I don't know.
You need another gin and tonic.
I think I do.
That was the thought.
I do. That was the thought. Yeah, I don't remember attention and why. Start to like ask that question of yourself.
That's a great piece of advice.
Yeah.
I think that's a general, I don't think there's anybody in this room that would say that they don't have that experience, or is it something that they see on social media every day that doesn't touch them? My question was maybe a little deeper, and thank you for the answer.
Right, but do you know why it touches you? Have you asked yourself that question?
I think it touches us all individually for a different reason, whatever the post is.
Right, but why does it touch you?
Right, and the reason it touches me is the reason why I will reach out to other people that I think will also touch them.
Right, so use that.
And so it's like living in a land of canals. It's just bridge to bridge to bridge to bridge.
Sure.
But it takes some time and effort.
It takes a while.
Like you said, broadcasting is different. I could just put it out there and that would be super easy for me. Or do I sort of call the people that I think would really enjoy this, be moved by it? And is that what I should be doing? Because that takes a lot longer. I mean,
Yes.
that's 3 cups of coffee and a charge of my eyes.
Yes.
I want to answer that. 3 cups of coffee. I firmly believe in this day and age that honing your craft is half the battle and working with your network is the other half. I really believe that. You have to treat it like a job. And if you're not, you're getting beat by somebody else who is. Okay? There are people that get up every day, get up an hour early, just like, you know, they tell writers, you know, if you work a full-time job, get up an hour early and write your, write 2 pages, write a few words, write whatever. Same thing with filmmakers. If you're going to do it, you know, you work a full-time job and you want to do an independent film, you shoot on the weekends, you shoot when people aren't available, you do it, you know, you make it work. Social media is no different. But guess what?
It's a job.
It's a job. Guess what? You don't have to get your whole crew together to go do it. You don't have to really even think about it in a lot of ways as far as, you know, sitting down writing your 500 words or your 3 pages every morning. You could, you know, shut off freaking The Real Housewives of Topeka, Kansas.
No, don't do that.
Don't do that. Unless they're bathing the pig. But, you know, if you're, you know, but shut off The Real Housewives of Topeka, Kansas, or while you're watching it, you know, network. You know, spend the time on your computer instead of, you know, watching, like I said earlier, the baby with the baton on YouTube that, you know, kicks the dog and everybody loves it. Just do something different, you know, and take that time, make it your personal time, and find a way to network because it really is that important. And the way that you rise above the noise in this business, we talked about it earlier, when there's a lower barrier of entry into any business, and there's a lower barrier of entry into filmmaking now than ever before, and it's going to keep getting lower and lower. You can shoot movies on your phone, you can edit them on your phone, you can put a GoPro on and, you know, you film whatever. I mean, you got, again, movies going to Sundance that half of it was on a GoPro. I mean, it's crazy, and the movies are getting sold. What happens is when the barrier of entry lowers, there are more people into the pool, and when there's more people into the pool, there's more noise, and how do you rise above the din? Well, I can tell you, you could beat 50 to 60 to 70 to 80% of the competition just by networking. Because they're not doing it.
Right.
60 to 70, 80% of that crowd is going out there going, look at me. Look at how great I am. That's what they do on social media. Look at my crowdfunding campaign. Look at my reel. Hey, check out I mean, it happens on Stage 32 all the time.
But
We have
I thought
100
you said not to talk about ourselves.
Well, that's the point. This is what they're doing, and this is the mistake. We have, don't do it. I'm saying we have 129,000 followers or something like that on the Stage 32 Twitter account. I would say conservatively 6 to 10 times a day we get people that say, look at my campaign, and they're not even following us. Why would I go look at it? You haven't cultivated a relationship with me, you haven't done anything with me. But you know what, if you have, I might go out there and retweet it, I might go out there and tell other people, and I build up the social currency with people that if I say, hey, go look at this, they're gonna go look. Or at least, you know, not everybody,
Right.
but you know, a lot will.
Sure.
You know?
Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Erica.
Yeah, I just wanted to say too about social media that there's a way to do it that doesn't feel like it's sucking out your soul. So I think a lot of us really are afraid of that, and I think we came up with social media, or so we were brought up on it as a personal tool. And if you're going to use it as a professional tool, it has to be different than what you're talking about in your personal life. There's a different tone that goes along in there, but if you think about it, like they were saying before, it's social. So the things that make you a success at a party or a cocktail party or a networking event, those are the same things that will make you successful online. It's a conversation. So where are people talking about what you're talking
That's
about?
tweetable. All right, go on.
Yeah, so it really does have to be a conversation. If you're the person who comes into a party and just starts shouting into the party, no one's going to actually listen to you. But if you figure out what people are talking about and what they're interested in and who they're talking about, and social media is so much more about your eyes and your ears than it is about your mouth or your hands, that you really have to step in and say, where are the people already talking about this that I could actually learn something from? So it's definitely, there's a huge part of it that's research. And figuring out sort of what is your social media tone that doesn't make you hate yourself too is really key. So if you're not a smiley face, exclamation pointy type of person, don't be that person. Figure out a way that feels authentic to you so that you will keep doing it.
Yeah, awesome. And it absolutely should be mentioned that this is Erica Anderson of Phoenix Park. She will be in our next panel. And I think this is a great time for everybody to take out their phones. You want to take out your phone right now and pick the social media platform of your choice. At Film Interchange, do you want RB or Stage 32?
No, I think we could do, well, you could do both. At Stage 32 online.
At Stage 32 online.
And at RB Walks Into a Bar.
And at RB Walks Into a Bar, which I think is so clever. That's another social media thing, you know, I mean, it stands out. RB Walks Into a Bar, what a great Twitter handle.
But use your creativity in this way as well as in your art.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So tweet that out, Facebook that out, and let's answer Gina's question.
That was brilliant, by the way.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Thank you.
Just like walking into an actual social conversation. Dave? Yes.
I have a question. I'm very interested in hearing what kind of success stories we've had on Stage 32 because I actually have a great success story. And
Do you want to share it? Do you want to come up here?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Come on up.
I think Stage 32 is amazing.
Love it. That's
He's a great guy. You know, what you were saying is really important because it's all about listening, but it's also about strategy. It's about understanding what your goals are and then aligning those goals with other people that have the skill sets and the same types of goals that you have. So the research is also understanding who's out there in that ecosystem and then seeing, you know, how that can help you with your very specific project. This happened with me. I was looking around, I had, you know, looked at a lot of script consultants and I really wasn't happy with some of them. And other ones were, you know, very, you know, they had a lot of great reputations and so forth, but I was sort of looking beyond that to, okay, what's my project, what's my movie, and, you know, who's going to best serve this for me? And so I struck up a conversation with Heather Hale, who's an absolutely wonderful director, producer, lecturer. She's also has a book coming out in Fulton Press, and a good friend of yours. And we got to talking, and I brought her on as a script consultant, and it just clicked. And the reason it clicked was because we were so the same. I mean, we were the same on a personal level, we were the same on a professional level. She just had what it took. And I just had to really do my homework on this. And as it turns out, I attached her to this film last summer.
Okay.
And we just finished the pitch package. We got the key art we're getting from Dog and Pony, which should be back the second rounds next week. And right now we're at the stage where we're going after investors for it, but the script's done, the pitch package is done, and we're very excited about this project. Never would have happened without Stage 32.
If I could add to that, Heather Haley was talking about, he spoke about my book at Focal Press doesn't happen without Stage 32, doesn't happen without social media. The movie I'm producing that I'm involved with doesn't happen without social media. My screenwriting manager, it doesn't happen without social media. And it was all about cultivating relationships. And it's cool to speak to some other Stage 32 success stories. We just had a guy named David Rountree. We actually just distributed our first film on the Stage 32 platform. It's a movie called Cut.
Nice.
David, accomplished director. This is his, I think, 6th film. His 5th film was a movie called 108 Stitches. Actually, his 5th film was cut, but it came out afterwards. But for the purposes of this conversation, he did a film called 108 Stitches. He came on to Stage 32. He was looking to fill out his cast and crew. And he ended up hiring, just to give you an idea of how cool this is in a lot of ways, just to give you an idea of the people that you can meet. Not only did he hire 23 Stage 32 members for cast and crew on the film, but his sound editor, a woman named Solange, had done 160 studio films, been nominated for Oscars, won Emmys. She did all the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. She's done millions of studio films. And she was just so taken by his vision, his approach, that she left doing the studio movies, because she was looking for a reason to break out anyway, and to get out because she was getting sick of it. But she came in for significantly less money to score and to do the sound editing, I should say, on 108 Stitches. So that movie turned out so well that he hired 35 Stage 32 members for Cut. And Cut premiered at the Arena Theater on Hollywood Boulevard a few weeks ago. Had a sold-out run. VOD on demand, thank you. Well, thank me, thank him. But he said it, because I've been across all these social media platforms, and the relationships that I cultivated on this site were just incredible. And what he did was he went out to Stage 32 members. He's about to film a television series in Louisiana, because they have great tax breaks down there right now. And he allowed people from Stage 32 to come to the premiere Cut and bring the headshots. And he's hiring a ton of actors. He's already keeping the same crew that he has from Stage 32. He's taking them all down to Louisiana. And he's filming the pilot down there right now. So he's probably going to be about 50 Stage 32s on this project. So, it works. But the common denominator with all of this is that he's a great guy. He's selfless as hell. He cultivated the relationships, and he would not deal with anybody. Like every single person that applied for these positions, he went and looked to see what their participation was on the site. And if they were just in there broadcasting their own shit out, or they weren't participating at all, he wanted no part of it.
That's interesting. It speaks for you.
It speaks for him.
It speaks for him, but yes, as far as what you post on there, you can't just post anything, because people are going to make decisions based off of what you're posting. Yeah. I think we have time for about one more question. We can take one more, and then we're going to get back to social time before our next panel. Does anybody have a question? Yes,
I kind of had a question.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Let's give him the floor.
It's sort of like it was answered in many different roundabout ways, but you said Facebook was not necessarily a great thing to broadcast and whatnot. And I think one of the reasons is, and I was quite, this is directly connected to Stage 32 and how it works, but in Facebook, if you post a video, for example, or you promote yourself in that way, and people will like it, and you'll get a lot of likes. If someone dares, responds and writes a great, hey, that was great, and then a few other people do, now there's this nerve-wracking element that goes along with, well, if they respond, then everyone's on that thread. Stage 32, it doesn't work that way, does it? Like, you can respond to people's videos and put yourself out there, and the flip side of it, support other people, and you don't have to worry about that kind of stuff, right? There's no pressure in that way.
No.
Well, that's alleviating that for sure.
Yeah.
Certainly, I guess that was really.
Did you answer your own question? Is that
I
what
think I just answered my
I
question.
think you
That was a rhetorical moment.
I kind of had an answer.
Yeah.
You had your own.
Yeah, so I guess that was kind of the thing, how it really works and how it's kind of, how it works.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to take that since you had an answer? Or? I think you've got it. He's got nothing to add. I think we're good.
No, I think that, you know, it shouldn't be a pressure thing. Also, you know, I will speak to, it's kind of ancillary to this, but it's worth mentioning. A lot of people get caught up in the numbers.
Yeah.
I have to have this many followers. People, I can't say how many filmmakers come to me and go, I just bought 10,000 followers on Twitter. And I'm like, what the hell does that do for you? Oh yeah. Google it. Google it. Because they think, but you know what? In a way, I don't blame them because there's this. Well, this is the point. This is the point. You're 100% right. You only need one. You only need a few, and it should be organic. But I get people get caught up in, you know, again, for lack of a better way of putting it, the whose dick is bigger kind of thing. And they do. They get caught up in that. Can I say that? Is that how I word it?
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah,
That's fine.
Is that film interchange?
That's totally film interchange approved.
I'm trying to keep it hard.
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep it hard. If you want me to go with NC-17, see me privately.
It's fine. It's fine.
But you know, but a lot of people get caught up in numbers, and a lot of people get caught up in quantity over quality. And the reality is that you want to. It's much better to have 500 fans of your work, people who are fans of what you're doing, people who again will carry that message when the time comes, than to have 50,000 people and you got, wow, I got 40 likes or 40 favorites or 10 retweets and all this garbage. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's, you know, what are your goals? Somebody brought that up earlier. I think so. About having goals, about having an idea of what is your mission on social media? What are you looking to accomplish? We talked about this earlier. What are you looking to accomplish? What is the goal? Have a plan going in, and then do it organically. And if you're not seeing growth within your network, or you're not getting the attention that you hope to get, change the message. It's the who watches Mad Men? Okay, I'm sure you remember this. Don Draper and then Peggy Olson picks it up 2 seasons later. If you're not getting the response you want, change the message. Okay? And that's the thing. Keep changing the message until you get the response that you want. Okay? But don't think that you're failing. It just might be that you're not getting it across the way that you hoped that you were getting it across. And before we have to end this, I just want to say what Jen Mello does in Film Interchange is remarkable. Shut it down, you came back in.
I'm back in, man.
Back in?
Back in.
So the fact that, you know, that I'm here is really an honor because I really respect everything that you do. And, you know, true champions, and this is exactly what I'm talking about, by the way. I live in LA. I mean, I'm born and raised there, it's my home, but I didn't get to go to a lot of the films. Would you shut the... And 2 more minutes, for Christ. I'm being lovely. You know, but I live on the other coast, and I had never gotten to attend any of the Film Interchange events. But I found out about it on the other coast, and the reason I found out about it is because people wanted to carry the message for Jen, which means that she's getting the right message out there, and because she's being selfless in her approach. So you can take a lesson from right here as to how, you know, the right way to handle yourself and the right way to get your message out there.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you, RB, because I would also say the same for him. I mean, it's hard to ignore Stage 32 these days. I mean, you're everywhere and you're doing amazing things, and this is the first of many. We're gonna do tons together, so we'll keep it going.
You don't realize I'm like Orphan Black. I have 7 films. That was the inspiration for Orphan Black.
You're right. Yeah. Okay, get a drink. Mingle.